Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
No, I'm Aaron.
This is Seeking Me Productions, bring you another movie review.
So we're going to go ahead and make this whole review about Deadpool and Wolverine. But this is not going to be just about that particular film. In fact, this is probably going to be something that's going to revolve around the entirety of the future of our channel, at least, and dealing with movies within the franchise of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Or Marvel in general.
Exactly.
During the course of the weekend of Deadpool Wolverine's release,
Comic-Con's been up.
San Diego Comic-Con 2024. And on that weekend, Marvel Studios decided to host another panel, the first one since 2022, I believe.
I believe a panel that they honestly should have had reserved for their D23 expo, because wow, does that really kind of eat into what was supposed to be a celebration to back to form with Deadpool and Wolverine.
But they probably jumped the start, what some people are saying. Let's get it out of the way. If you are aware of at the time of this video, aware of the news that came out,
it has been confirmed by Kevin Feige and Robert Downey Jr. himself that Robert Downey Jr. will step into the shoes of yet another iconic Marvel character. That being Marvel's probably greatest villain character to date, Dr. Doom. There's so many connotations and issues that revolves around this casting. I cannot list them all here just for for time's sake.
To the detriment of other characters like Hank Pym, and now recently the replacement of Kang due to domestic legal issues of Jonathan Majors.
Listen, Disney and Marvel, Feige's issue with recasting actors for characters' roles has truly begun a phenomenon of complete and utter travesties going forward with the entirety of the franchise. I don't understand, why is it so hard to go out of your way to find somebody else to fit in the shoes for a character that you obviously still have a lot of stakes in. We are huge Dr. Doom fanatics. We love that character. He's literally the favorite of the Marvel villains. He is their Lex Luthor, in my opinion. He is their one of their major overarching villains. So he deserved to have a lot of gravitas and care to be put into his development.
Yeah, I would have been happy if they decided to wait until after the multiverse saga. But because of the Secret War storyline, yes, it's like he is a very prominent person in that story in the comics. But I feel as though it would probably been beneficial if you probably just pushed that movie even much further, so he can have that person, Victor Von Doom, as a separate character from Tony Stark, to have development over the course. But that's not happening.
But it is what it is. Again, this is a huge development for Marvel. More information as it comes, hopefully, as things develop. But as it stands right now, this is yet another blow, in our opinion, towards the sinking ship that it appears to be, formulating over there in the House of Mouse. But this is a review we're supposed to be developing on Deadpool and Wolverine.
So Deadpool and Wolverine is the third Deadpool movie. Or because it's a crossover, fourth Wolverine movie. But overall, I think the 13th, 14th Fox-related X-Men movie.
And they do not lit that up. They are very adamant that you understand these are Fox acquisitions into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
This is the most meta of all the Deadpool movies so far.
Oh, yeah.
Most likely probably to the detriment of the quality of the film itself. But we'll get into that very shortly. But this, I think the better the description that we can say for Deadpool Wolverine is like the Flash and from DC. This is mainly just a palate cleanser.
Honestly, and that's what this entire film feels like. It does not actually feel like it's straight up addition towards the franchise of the cinematic universe, or even for Deadpool himself. It literally just feels as though this is just a placeholder for us to just, wash away the poor taste of all the issues that's been developing all throughout the saga. So, going into the story itself, this is again a Deadpool movie, and it does follow from the previous entries in the saga. This basically centering itself around Wade Wilson and how he's feeling in his crisis of his life.
Yes, after the Deadpool 2, him rewriting his own history, and during the event, after the events of that movie, he feels displaced, and he feels like he wants more. In all nice, good Deadpool meta fashion, due to the acquisition of Disney, Deadpool now is seeking refuge, possibly, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe prior.
And I guess he gets somewhat of what he was looking for, because, Lord and behold, individuals from the Marvel side, in this case being that of the TVA,
Time variant. Time variant
agency, they come to recruit him in a sort of fashion to try and fix things around,
or at least allow him to save himself,
which is usually the case.
Now, the TVA are an entity that was introduced in the Loki Disney Plus show. Lasted 2 seasons, and this movie brings you up to speed essentially on the overall concept of what happened in that show.
Yeah.
While still being adjacent, because of obviously Loki's not in this series, in this movie. But the whole big deal is that Deadpool's universe is about to be destroyed.
Which, honestly, you could really just chalk it up to, this is just their meta way of being able to tell you that, no, those movies are no longer going to be separate off of its own. They are now trying to pick and choose what they want to take.
And Deadpool, thinking that he might have been the anchor of this universe. No, he just, he has some value a little bit, but the reason why his world is continually essentially ending is because the anchor that was his universe, i.e. Wolverine, perished. And that his version of Wolverine was the movie Logan.
So, just starts him trying to go find a Logan for him to replace so he can save his universe. And he ends up finding one, just one that isn't necessarily willing to go along for the whole ride.
Yes. So what we have here is another reluctant Wolverine. Every Wolverine's reluctant.
That's literally part of his DNA.
Yes. And Deadpool's hoping for him to come out and be the hero that he can be, and to help save his universe.
It literally goes by as well as you would think that kind of story would develop with these types of characters. One who's a goofy, joking individual who can't take stuff seriously until it really matters, and the other individual so down in his dumps and willing to just walk the other way until he's pushed into a corner that he can't necessarily find himself to back out of.
Yes, and I would say the first little bit after the first act of this film, it becomes very repetitive. There's as soon as the premise is finished and what the plot is going on, I could have easily seen this film ending 30 minutes before the run time, because of
it's true.
It's mainly just drags along. The movie is it's not consequential. At the end of the day,
it's a very small scale story, which is actually the problem with a lot of Deadpool's movies.
We can understand small.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're talking about a movie that was supposed to jumpstart a new beginning with characters going into the larger scale of things. However, I feel as though one of the major hallmarks from this film, or at least a huge red flag that this film actually highlights for me, is the fact that it feels like the acquisitions that are coming over from Fox are going to downgrade themselves to try and fit into the cookie cutter, streamlined variant story structure and design that Marvel Cinematic Universe demands.
No matter how risky they end up being,
Yeah.
there's some enjoyment to be had, and this feels like the Disney-fied, sanitized version of even a hard R movie that this is still technically speaking. Their jokes are funny when they are, but it got tiresome when you know exactly where this movie is going.
Especially when you bring in other characters, and we're not going to go into detail about who makes a appearance in it. Watch the movie for yourself. But when you brought over certain characters in this film and you utilized them, they were far better utilized in the original introduction from their franchise than they were in this film. And that's just my personal opinion.
They felt like parody versions of themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? You could argue that's what was going to always happen because it's Deadpool. That's part of Deadpool's charm. That being said, I feel as though even in the Deadpool movies, there was respect given to certain characters, especially to characters that were just like for the mass majority of Marvel Cinematic Universe's C-lister characters were
elevated,
exactly. So it's like, is this really where we're going to go?
Moving on to this, be more descriptive with the characters. Ryan Reynolds, back reprising his now iconic role. There is no character development really for his character at this end, like right now. He still plays the role just as well. There's no fault into it. He is doing his best of trying to navigate a very messy acquisition and try and be as ironically non-offensive as possible. But
it is what it is. We have Hugh Jackman's Logan Wolverine. How he acted at the character before is exactly what you're really getting from the
just
character.
A lot more. It takes a while for his character to really elevate to it, but even then it's like mid.
If anything, this is what it highlights. I am ready for somebody else to step into the shoes of the Wolverine. I am ready for that.
But I don't like how the joke of one of the major jokes that Deadpool has in this movie is that he'll be doing this till he's 90. Please don't let that happen. Because from how the casting decision of Robert Downey Jr., that might be the case, and I'm concerned. You have Emma Corrin, who plays the main antagonist of this film.
Yeah.
Cassandra Nova.
She does a well enough job. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's going into the same problem that Marvel movies end up always having.
They don't really care about the villains at the end of the day.
Exactly.
There really is a point in where this movie could have ended, and it's very obvious where, but it just kept on going even afterwards.
And it really didn't need to go that way.
Other characters, like the main TVA agent, not consequential.
Yeah, honestly.
It's just a lot of characters not consequential even for
a lot of the story points are not consequential.
It's getting there.
And this is where we're going with Marvel Cinematic movies. I don't want to be a part of that anymore. I'm sorry.
And it is also very telling with with the production.
Oh God.
For a 250, probably a 200 plus movie after reshoots and whatnot, they still managed to make this feel small. And this is the second big multiverse movie that has feels like a small scope. And this is supposed to be a movie.
Again.
After, like we said, after the first 30, 40 minutes, it gets monotonous.
It does. I mean, there's a few jokes here and there that keeps you up a little bit, and I guess they have. I can't even give you action sequences because I really only thought at the end of the day there's really only one action sequence that actually really was well done, and even in that it wasn't like, oh my God, this is amazing.
It's because the action is small scale too, and it's like the same type of low ground level action that it's like Deadpool 2 is the highlight of cars. Deadpool action movies go because there's a lot of variety and also the scope of some of the action actually elevated.
Oh yeah.
This part, even when you're dealing with a lot more characters, ironically enough, they lowered it down.
You did. And
it's
again,
weird.
you know, bringing in the other characters that honestly could have really elevated some stuff. Don't do much with them.
They don't.
So it's like, okay, what? And you did this, why?
So at the end of the day, from what we feel about Deadpool Wolverine, it's an okay movie.
Honestly,
A palate cleanser from what possibly trying to clean up.
and it's not even going to be a palate cleanser because again, we're seeing where these movies are going to go, and I'm telling you, this is the direction. Count me out.
Like this is like coming off of our review, like from X-Men '97, which was
Oh my god, that was so good.
like that was a highlight, and the one is like has nothing like technically speaking, X-Men has nothing to do with the Marvel Studios, Marvel Cinematic brand, because one is set in a different universe, animated no less, but from where the direction new creative that's going to have to be taken over from new creative team.
It is actually quite fascinating. If you want to talk about the real fascinating aspects of what's going on, the behind the scenes stuff, that's some interesting stuff.
I would love to know more, the behind the scenes documentary.
To be a fly on the wall.
But we'll try and navigate. We do plan on discussing other Marvel projects, particularly the Insomniac Spider-Man games. The Insomniac Wolverine looks promising.
Oh god.
Our next franchise deconstruction is revolving around the X-Men. But we're going to assume when we just deep dive into that, we're going to assume that has nothing to do with the MCU because it's very worrisome. But if you want to continue watching other media that we produce relating to Marvel, stay tuned. My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
This has been Seeking Me Production. This has been a review for Deadpool Wolverine.
As always, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And please hit that bell down there at the bottom for notifications if you want more content just like this.
And also hit us up on our other social media outlets of LinkedIn, Letterboxd, X, and Instagram.
And as always, see y'all later.
See you.